Now, I'm going to show you, these are emerger Caddis patterns I tied for a friend in Ireland. Now I was looking through, I've got a folder of patterns I've tied over the years, and this is one I always keep the kind of samples. Now I did a typical style shuttlecock version. I did a full bubble, or a bubble, standard bubble, which just takes it over the thorax with the CDC. And then I did again a bubble, in this case with the thorax well pronounced and the bubble at the back, as you can see there. Now this was the best fly. This is the one that worked the best for the merger. The colour combination was I wanted a bright yellow and a dark thorax with a cinnamon wing, so I used a cinnamon CDC. So I'm going to show you how to tie this fly. This is, as I say, the one that caught the fish, the one you liked best. Now the hook choice was basically to use a wide gape if I could, or a short shank, in this case special. This is a short shank special size 10. The shank's equivalent to a 12. The gape's equivalent to a size 10, so it's an ideal hook for that. Now, this was a Caddis pattern, a cinnamon Caddis that he reckoned the colour combination that it suited and obviously worked for, and a Caddis coming off in the evening. The yellow I had to use, this is a Sunburst yellow, which is fluorescent, and so it reacts well with the light, especially in the evening and the morning. So, but in the evening, this is what he was wanting it for. So I thought I'd like you to see this. I'm tying some at the moment anyway, so because I'm filling a box. So anyway, this thread I used was the dark brown and 80 from uni. Just going to wax the thread. Now, it's a nice style, it's a nice fly. It's a nice merger-like pattern. Now you can tie this what size you like to suit the Caddis that comes off. And obviously whatever materials you like to use. Now I've used deer hair instead of the CDC for over the back, but tied in the same style. But the bubble CDC was basically, what it allows you to do is pull the fly. So if you can pull the fly, it'll pop back up. Whereas you're pulling some flies, especially on dries, if you pull them below the surface, they'll not come back up, but the bubble does, and that was the benefit of using the bubble. Now, the rib of the fly, I'm just using a gold tinsel. It could be an oval gold or so. You use what you have. Just going to tie on the way down. Now as you see, I've come down about a kind of thorax length, and I'm just going to come round the bend slightly, and I'm going to come back up. Now, what I'm going to do is get this is a seal's fur, as I say, it's dyed Sunburst. I'm actually going to wind the dubbing down. I want a Caddis light shaped body, so now you could use lots of dubbins for this, you use what you have. So what I'm going to do is just work my way down, stretching the dubbin out. This helps give you like a more Caddis-like shape rather than a taper shape you get in the midge. There you are. And work your way up. Gives you depth as well in the colour and the body. Just a tiny bit more just at the front here. Don't be too, I mean, you can allow the body to be quite sort of loose or straggly like. Because you're representing an emerger, it will burst open. Just wind up nice and tight. Form your rib. Make sure it's well tied in. Now if you were doing a deer hair version, you would tie the deer hair in. So like this point. Now I'm going to use the CDCs to form the bubble. Now this is domestic duck dyed cinnamon. I bought some domestic duck, just white CDC, and I used a vineyard cinnamon dye to get this colour. Now because it's a domestic duck, the feathers are not the best in the world. There they are, but they're not bad. So I'm lining up the ends, the tips, sorry. And then you've got that natural curve in the CDC, which is going to curve up and away, so you want that. So I'm just making sure the tips have lined up. I'm going to bring it together. Now I want to form the best of the feather, so now I'm just checking by just basically pulling them together. Making sure they are together. This one here seems to have come away, so I'm going to come back. Just make sure they're lined up. Just spend a bit of time doing it, it's worthwhile doing this. Now I want to align it, just basically get these in line or all together. So I'm going to catch this on the top, 3 or 4 turns. Now I'm going to check it before I do anything that the bubble's there, meaning there's a nice bit of material that I can use to form a bubble. There we are, so this would be like if it was tied in, so that's fine. So when I'm happy with that, and then can carry on down, wax your thread, make sure they're secure. Now I'm going to put the legs in at this point, and you can either use like partridge fibre, which works well, brown partridge, or in this case I'm going to use pre-knotted pheasant tail legs. These are just a brown, natural brown. So we get 2 either side of the wing. Just so you want to be able to see them at the back. There we are. Just use the wing to separate them. Come around with 2 or 3 turns. See how they're sitting. You can see the legs. This will pull in a wee bit once you should basically tie it. When you're happy with the position, then you can then take away the waste. Again, make sure that's secure. Checking my CDC here. Now I'm going to actually form the bubble at this point. Now in one of the flies I showed you, I actually tied off at the head, so I'd put the thorax on, then the head. You can give it a try, but this is the style that worked. So it gives more of a Caddis-like wing, so, and it should be at the back of the, obviously at the back of the fly. Now what I'm doing here is I'm pulling them together, lining them up, just like that, if you can see. Now I want some of the fibres from either side. Again, that will give the impression of the wing, and you want the bubble to extend to, at least to the back of the hook. So there's a bubble there, and there's some of the fibres either side. So you're happy with the amount of material that's there, then you can pinch and loop 3 or 4 turns or more on the top. Now at this point, what I like to do is use my dubbing needle and come in and see where the bubble's sitting, because you can always get back, and if you're not happy, you'll not fish the fly. Just checking everything's fine, the length's right. I'm looking at it on video, so it's sometimes easier to see in the video. It looks not too bad. We can tighten up when we're happy. The advantage of tying in these many feathers further back as well is that you can secure them in much easier than just try to tie them in a small head length, because they're quite a lot of bulk there. Trim away when you're happy, as I say. Keep this, these fibres here can be used for dubbing, so don't throw that away. So wax your thread, make sure it's secure. There we are. Then I'm going to bring the kind of chestnut brown seal sphere from the, I'm going to work back towards the wing. So I'm just lightly dub the colours there so you can see it. Really nice dark brown. Dub it on. Give yourself a kind of head length away when you start to wind it up. Times it's easier to wind up, form the thorax. See where we are. And as you come back through, if you don't want any more dubbing, you can use the thread as a rib, so that will help protect the, rib the dubbing so it doesn't pull out. Get to the head and you've got enough dubbing, just stroke it back. See how it's sitting. Now the horns is up to yourself, though I like to see the horns. So I've got 2 bronze mallard fibres there, so just bring them out. So if you bring them 90 degrees, the tips will line up, tear them away. You want to see them, so make sure they're laying back because you've got the emerger. It's to either side of the thorax, just hold them, much like we did with the pheasant tail legs. You can position them and check the length, fine. And then wind towards the eye, pull back the waist and fold them back. Just ignore things at the point and just finish. Trim away your thread. Oops. Trim away the waist of the horns. There we are. See how it's all sitting. I mean, you can see the colours there. I mean, the colour's right. Shape's right. Gives the impression of an emerging caddis, which basically you're looking for. The next stage is obviously the dry, which is you can have the horns forward, you can lay them back, it's up to yourself. Basically you can then have the bigger loop with the CDC. I like a wee bit of deer hair on the top of the CDC, as well as a bit of dubbing at the front, or you could wind a hackle, it's up to yourself. As I say, this is the emerger, and it can be pulled, that's the thing. Now I'm just going to just put a wee bit of varnish onto the head, just clear varnish. And there we go. And that's your bubble caddis, emerger caddis. As I say, it's a colour combination. You can try, I mean, I know the shuttlecock version works, it just sits a wee bit deeper. There's another way, when you tie the CDC in, you have some of the waste at the back which helps to flatten it, lifts it up a wee bit. So there's a couple of ways of doing it, but you can't really pull this as much as you can the bubble. If you want the bubble to be able to pull it, if you need to, it will pop straight back up if you want to draw your leader below the surface, and that's the idea as well. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that, and again, if you enjoy the videos, please subscribe, it does help, and thank you for watching.